What's up, everyone? I guess technically we're still the Inside the Rope channel at the moment.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it Inside the Ropes tonight. We are going a little off kilter here. We're going a little off basis. Here, I'll make you feel a little bit better. Over the weekend, boxing news. Anthony Joshua won again. Fucking shocking turn of events. I know, we were all in shock here. Joshua dominated Takam. Shitty stoppage, didn't like it. Anyways, move on now.
Also, real quick on the Inside the Rope segment, fuck you, Charlie Zelenoff.
Okay, now we can move on.
Now we can move on to what our actual topic is for the night.
Tonight we've decided that we're going to touch on something that I love. And I don't know why I didn't start doing videos a lot sooner than this.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about The Walking Dead tonight.
Yes, we are.
We're going to sum up episode 1 and 2 for you guys. Because I wanted to watch both of them to get a better understanding of exactly what's going on. I'm a huge fan. That's actually probably a fucking understatement, really.
Now, if you guys saw it, the wall to the right of me has all Walking Dead figures on it.
Yeah. I'm a little bit obsessed. I won't lie. I'm not like one of those people who tries to deny their obsessions. I embrace mine wholeheartedly.
He has Lucille.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll get Lucille for you.
We need her in this video.
Yeah. I'll get Lucille's for you. But yeah, my addiction is pretty strong. I go to the stalker cons and I've camped out outside their hotel rooms. I've done it all pretty much. Yeah. To say I'm a Walking Dead addict is probably putting it lightly at this point. But I don't know about anyone else, but at the end of the last season, I was excited because I do read the comics. So I do have an idea of what's coming this season. So I was extremely excited. There's Lucille. Comic version Lucille. They brought out a new one for the TV version. It's a little bit bigger than this one. But to me, comic book Negan and comic book Lucille will always be the baddest shit on the planet. Always.
Oh, this is nice.
But at the end of last season, I got extremely excited. Even the season premiere last year, a lot of people complained about it because of who died and how they died. But to me, it marked the beginning of something amazing. It was the arrival of Negan. And if you're a fan of the show, then you have to know that Negan coming along, if you read the comics, that this was a badass moment. Because if you thought the governor was a badass villain, like if you thought the governor was somebody who fucked with them, he's got nothing on Negan at all. I mean, the man is as sadistic as you can be for a gym teacher. Okay?
Literally.
That's Negan's backstory. He was a gym teacher, apparently. Yeah, I've done the research. Dude was a gym teacher. Hence, the baseball bat makes a lot more sense with that one.
Yeah.
So I was extremely excited. The season opener started off with Rick and the other leaders of the community giving their little speech and rallying the troops, if you will. You then had Dwight and Daryl exchanging pleasantries with crossbows. Little love notes written on arrows. It's always nice to see in this world. Romance hasn't left the room altogether. You then had Rick, Daryl, and Morgan, I believe, clearing out their lookouts.
Yep.
And then you had the inevitable showdown, where Rick and the crew were across from Negan and his crew outside of the sanctuary, which is where the Saviors call home.
Showed up in a badass convoy of armored vehicles.
Badass caravan where they used whatever they could find pretty much to make them as bulletproof as possible.
To where Negan dropped one of the funniest puns in the first episode. There were a few of them. Rick, if you really want to have a penis swinging contest, well, let me tell you something. If you want to have a whose dick is bigger contest, here's a little spoiler alert. It's mine. I'm like, what?
Negan's good for one of those every time you see him. Just get used to him, if you haven't already.
Negan's fucking great, man.
The writing for Negan is fantastic. There's second to none.
The actor's fucking great, too. For a guy that's never played a bad guy in his life, in his entire career of acting.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's never played the bad guy?
He's never played a bad guy. He's admitted it in an interview. He's like, I never played a bad guy before.
I don't know. I loved him.
With it."
I love him on my other show. Well, I loved him on my other show, Supernatural. He was John Winchester. He was badass over there too. The dude's just an amazing actor who doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I'm glad he landed the role because it's a role that he'll be tied to forever.
Yeah.
Like, 20 years from now, people will be like, oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that was Negan. But they exchanged pleasantries. Rick then told them that basically he knew more about them than they realized. All of his lieutenants were lined up there, and he said, your name is Dwight, you're Simon, you're this one, you're that one. All of these have an option right now. And it's what Rick has really said from the beginning. This war is not about the different communities, really. It's about one man. It's about Negan. He refuses to share power. He wants the power to himself. We've seen that firsthand. Negan's way of doing things is simple. You either do things his way or you do things Lucille's way. And Lucille's way is never fun. Ask Glenn, Abraham. It's just never a good turn of events.
And now what could possibly be Gabriel?
Well, we have no idea. And I guarantee you, they're going to keep us waiting on that Gabriel thing for a while.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there. The whole time while Rick's doing his little talk with Negan, though, they kept flashing to another scene where Carol, Tara, Morgan, and Daryl were directing a horde of zombies towards the sanctuary. And it seemed like that was the plan all along. Was to get Negan out there talking and then have this whole horde come down on the sanctuary. And the plan is real simple, in my opinion at this point. It's shock value for those who are inside the sanctuary.
Yeah.
Okay? Rick said it. This war doesn't need to happen. Only one man needs to die. Negan dies, he's done. That's it. And what he's trying to tell the sanctuary people is, look, this is what we will do. We'll do this shit if we have to. But you guys can end it. All it takes is somebody walking up behind Negan and shooting him in the back of the head while he's walking around.
That's exactly all that needs to happen.
And they backed up a RV, which everybody is a little wrong on something. Everybody keeps saying, did you see Dale's RV? That's not Dale's RV, folks. That is not Dale's RV. As much as we would all love it to be Dale's RV, it is not Dale's RV. I don't remember exactly when, but we lost Dale's RV a long time ago. That's just another RV that looks similar to it, probably for nostalgia purposes.
It was probably a small little Easter egg they threw in there.
But you can see the difference.
Homage of Dale.
If you go back and look very closely, the pattern on the side of the RV. Dale's RV had the brown lines that went, and then all of a sudden it went up into like a little M, and then straight again. This just had a straightforward line. Like I said, I'm a little bit obsessed.
To the point where he knows the pattern on an RV.
I'm a little bit obsessed. So they back the RV up. It blows up. The fence is broken down. In comes the horde of walkers, and it really, to me, looked like Negan's lieutenants ran inside and left his ass sitting out there alone. Mm-hmm. Now, if you went on your phone, you saw that two of his men did come out and try to help him. But he was singled out, and he had to fight his way to, I guess, a little, like, storage room or something.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, leads us to what happened next, and that was Gabriel saw...
You know what sucks?
This jackass, Gregory, in trouble, who tried to get the hilltop, to turn on Rick. And obviously, once he couldn't, Negan and the boys had no use for the man anymore, so they left him out there to rot. And Gabriel sees him and tries to run to his rescue.
Unfortunately, that's the price you pay for becoming a priest, even in the Armageddon.
Gabriel goes in there, helps Gregory, who then turns and runs and takes Gabriel's car and leaves Gabriel stranded there. Now, here's the one problem I have with that scene. when he saw Gregory take off running and get in the car, why didn't he just take off after him? Obviously, he made it without getting killed. Why not give it a shot?
True.
Why not shoot through the glass, because that wasn't covered, and blow his goddamn brains out? He just left you there to die.
Got a point.
Okay? You may be a priest, but you're a priest carrying an M16. You should have been able to kill that dumbass, because he deserves it for all the stupid shit he's done so far. He is way up there on my Walking Dead want to see killed list.
You know, it's fun. I know it's going to happen, but I kind of don't want to see Negan die. Unfortunately, I know it's going to happen.
I can't comment. No spoilers on this channel.
But I don't want to see him die.
No spoilers on this channel because I have read ahead in the comic. However, I will say this. For those of you who read the comic, you know firsthand then that the comic does not go toe-in-toe with the TV show. The show's done a good job of making changes, throwing curveballs, switching up characters, just enough to keep comic fans at least a little off balance as to what's coming. So Gabriel runs for cover and takes cover in the same damn shed that Negan is in, which leads us to my favorite line of the night.
You got your
I hope you got your shitting pants on.
What?
And Gabriel says, what? And
You know.
Negan says, your shitting pants.
I hope you're wearing them
about
right
to
now.
shit your pants.
He's like, I hope you're wearing them right now, because you're about to shit your pants.
Another great Negan line. And that then was Rick standing on top of a hill. And Daryl, Rick saying, we can't wait. Daryl saying, we could stay if you want to. And Rick says, no, we can't. This isn't about me. We have to go. To all of you who were commenting on why was Rick crying, it looked like, to me, at first I thought it was because of the Gabriel situation. I've gone back and watched it again now a couple times, and from what I can make out, while Rick is giving his speech to the troops in the beginning, because that's the way the show ends, the first show ends, is with the speech ending.
Yeah.
And that's when they show him in tears.
Yep.
That's when he was having that little daydream where, he was an old man with the cane and the limp, which if you read the comics, you know how significant that was. I won't go into much more than that. Michonne sitting there. Judith all grown up, which is nice to see. Again, Judith is a plot twist in itself because in the comics, Judith died back at the fucking prison. So the fact that she's still there is always intriguing. And they're having a festival and all that. And to me, it looked like the tears were almost tears of like, I won't say happiness, but maybe like hope.
Yeah.
Kind of seeping in a little bit.
Yeah.
Of what he knows the future can be if he can get them there.
Yeah.
But
Old Man Rick was kind of like his conscience through the whole thing.
But
so far.
That was the end of the first episode. And I know a lot of people complained about it. And I don't know why.
I thought it was a solid episode.
I thought it was a great way to start off the war because that's where we are, folks. For those of you who read the comics and for those that don't, we are in the segment of the comics that was called All Out War. Plain and simple. Okay? You needed at least one episode to kind of set the pace for everything. You had plenty of saviors die. You had tons of explosions. You had a cool Daryl on the motorcycle moment. You had a great Negan line. You had a great Rick line where he said, are you really going to make me count? Kind of, making fun of Negan for when he said it to him. I don't see much to complain about here. I know it wasn't the greatest episode they've ever done, but it was a solid way to start the season. Which then
leads into tonight's episode.
Which you'll have to excuse me if I can't go as in-depth because I like to watch these shows like 6 times throughout the week.
It started off what seemed to be when Jesus and Ezekiel and Carol and all that
We're recovering from that.
were recovering from their grenade.
Yeah, the Savior who threw the grenade at them when they were I don't know. I really, at the time, I didn't know what the hell they were doing.
They were trying to take
where
over
they
an
were.
They were trying to take over an outpost.
But yeah, what had happened was they had all left the sanctuary and headed for different outposts that Dwight had told Daryl about. So it seemed like they split up into 3 teams. At least that's what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw 3 teams.
It was Ezekiel,
Carol, and the Kingdom.
And the Kingdom. And then you had Morgan, Jesus, and Tara.
Which looked like... No, wait. There was 4 teams. No.
There were
Morgan...
3. It was Morgan, Jesus, Tara...
4.
And a bunch of scared guys.
That was mostly the Hilltop,
and
that crew.
And then, of course, you had Batman and Robin themselves, Daryl and Rick.
And then you had the Alexandrian crew.
Yes, you did.
Which was Aaron and his boyfriend Eric and just a lot of the Alexandrians that we've come to see. Francine, who, R.I.P., Francine died tonight. They all went to different outposts. Of course, the only team that didn't need more than 2 people was Rick and Daryl. You know, every other team's got like 10 people with them. Rick and Daryl go off by themselves. Why not? The fuck, they're Rick and Daryl.
Batman and Robin.
So
Real
we'll
life
break
versions.
this down by what we saw at each outpost. I'm not going to do the whole jumping thing like the show did. I'll get too confused. So, okay, first outpost. Will be the Morgan outpost, we'll call it.
Yeah.
So they get to the outpost, and Morgan draws the walkers to the fence while, what was the girl's name?
Tara.
With the arrow. I can't remember her name right now. There's
Start
so
with a
many.
D.
Was it Danielle?
No. Wasn't Denise. No, Denise died. Long time ago.
All right, forget it. I'm not going to sit here forever. There's too many people right now to try and remember
There
everyone's
really
name.
is.
And he told her to make sure that the Saviors didn't get off a shot at the outpost, because if they did, it would alert the rest of them, and then the plan was shot. So Morgan lured him to the fence, and she went pop, pop, back to back. 2 arrows, 2 dead Saviors, rivaling that of Daryl for his efficiency with an arrow. Or a bolt, actually, because Daryl uses a crossbow, but whatever. Same difference. They then made their move to get inside of the building. Tara and Jesus picked off 2 of the guards, after Jesus picked off another one as soon as they got in there. And then you had the scene that was weird for a second there.
Yeah.
Because it looked like the 2 teams kind of split up for a minute inside of the outpost. Tara and Jesus kind of went their way. Morgan and another group went one way. And in the process, Morgan's guys kicked in the door, killed the guy, and then completely froze up as they turned the corner, and Saviors were everywhere. And we had 2 dead, I'll just call them Hilltoppers at this point, because I really can't remember everybody's fucking name right now. I know they did some intros here and there, but they haven't been main characters at all. It's almost like they gave them a name tonight just to die. That's pretty much what they were. Morgan then played dead, and Jesus and Tara found themselves in an interesting situation.
Yep.
They found a Savior tied up in a closet who had just pissed himself, and Jesus didn't want to kill him. He thought, like the Savior said to him, he was just a worker who was being forced to do these things to take care of his family. And Jesus had a soft spot, didn't want to kill him, and we all have seen what happens on The Walking Dead when you have a soft spot for someone and don't want to kill the guy standing across from you. It usually bites you in the ass. It almost did tonight. Dude grabbed Jesus, put a gun to his head. Tara had the gun on him, and they went back and forth exchanging pleasantries. And then Jesus decided he had enough of it, knocked dude man out, and still wouldn't kill him. Tied him up, told Tara, this isn't what we do. We're taking him back. Maggie will listen to me. Tara was pretty pissed off about this because at this point, the only thing Tara sees is revenge. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with them killing Denise, but that's not all. She was really close with Glenn, if you know, from back after the prison escape and all that and everything else. So Tara's got a lot of reasons to want to see Saviors dead right now.
Yeah.
That little bickering kind of continued on. And then it showed Morgan faking dead, getting up, and going into my favorite Morgan. Clear mode Morgan. You know, the clear guy, the guy who quarantines off an area and then kills everything in the area. And he went into that Morgan mode. Went absolutely fucking pure on John Wick. Okay? Just pop, 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 pop. Who knew Morgan was such a badass with a gun? Like, the dude's been using a staff for the last fucking 2 seasons. Put a gun back in his hand, and he's fucking John Wick. Like, this is amazing. And he was just, like, pure on focus, killing everything in sight. Then shows Jesus and Tara circling around to the other end of the outpost to try and cut off the guys who had just killed 2 of their guys. They open the shutters. There's one Savior there. Jesus says, just put it down. You know, you have no chance, this and that. If you put the gun down, we'll let you live. He says, that sounds good to me. Living is better than dying. And then he calls out the other Saviors who all lay down their guns. Tara wants to kill all of them. Jesus convinces her not to. And Tara says, that's fine. You want to do things the hard way? Maybe Maggie will listen to you, but Rick will listen to me. And that's an interesting scenario right there, because as of right now, those 3 communities with their 3 respective leaders have all seen eye to eye. What will happen though when Rick and Maggie don't see eye to eye about something, and Maggie has power for the first time, has a whole following now for the first time.
Yep.
That whole thing ended with Morgan showing up and wanting to kill them too, and Jesus said, this isn't what we do, and Morgan said, then what do we do? And that was the end of their little outpost endeavor. So, next outpost we'll go to, we will call it the Carol
The shootout.
outpost. No, we'll call it the Carol outpost next.
Okay.
We'll go Carol and Ezekiel next. Their outpost thing went, I guess a little cleaner, really. Wasn't too many problems for them, really.
No, not at all.
Except that the scout had gotten away, and they were worried that he was going to get back and alert them, and Ezekiel was like, no, we'll continue on, and he told one of his guys to circle back, go get the rest of the men, and get Shiva, and let her off the leash, which I'm always happy to hear. And, I don't remember Carol and them having to fight all that much, though.
Huh.
They really didn't, right?
No, they really didn't.
I mean, Jerry had a couple of cool walker kills.
Yeah.
With his axe. Jerry's quickly becoming one of my favorite characters.
Jerry looks like someone out of fucking World of Warcraft, man.
Jerry's badass,
That dude is a fucking beast and a half.
Swinging a big-ass axe, always smiling and laughing about it.
For those, if you guys are in tune with the wrestling world and you guys know who Falaba is, he looks exactly like him.
I mean, this dude is
Face,
pretty...
size, looks exactly like the motherfucker.
This dude is pretty awesome.
He really is. I like Jerry. I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah, so they kind of just spent the whole time looking for that one scout.
And then, out of nowhere, Shiva.
Well, they saw spots of blood and stuff, and Ezekiel's smiling the whole time, and Carol says, you know that this isn't just going to be just a couple zombies, right? We might not win. We might not even make it out of this alive. And Ezekiel said, and yet still I smile. And basically told Carol that whether or not he actually believes they're going to win, he has to act like he does.
Yeah.
Because his people look to him
as a leader
for confidence and leadership.
Yeah.
So he said, basically, fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
And they spotted, you see Ezekiel spot the scout running away. Carol comes running up to shoot, and Ezekiel says, don't waste your munitions. Our friends have arrived. And you get a badass Shiva moment.
Shiva, from what I can understand, is now 4-0 at WrestleMania.
I think we're correct with that one, because I remember it was the season finale, and I believe she got 3 of the Saviors in the season finale. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong. But Shiva takes down the Savior, and they grab the Savior's walkie, and it basically lets them know that the other Saviors know they're coming to that outpost. Yeah. And Ezekiel says, oh well, we're still going, plain and simple. Which is the last we see of them. So we'll have to wait till next week to see how they do at their outpost. Then we'll go to the Alexandrians' outpost, which seemed to be Aaron's outpost pretty much.
Yeah.
He seemed to be the guy in charge of that
Yeah.
whole deal up there. They rolled in like some fucking straight up badasses with the most hardcore drive-by I've ever seen. There isn't a goddamn gang in the state of America, in the United States of America today, that could pull off a drive-by like they did. Armored caravan, assault rifles out the window. Just it makes me wonder why they got out of the cars, to be honest with you. Because they didn't have anything to worry about while they were in the car. But
No.
hey. And the whole time that they're going after this outpost, the person in charge of the Saviors keeps saying, get ready, they're going to make their push. They're going to make their... And they never did. And she's like, why won't they make their push? And then you realize why, what their plan was. They killed enough of the Saviors, and enough time had passed to where now you had Walker Saviors. And now the Saviors were in essence surrounded. They had the Walkers inside their own group, and they had the Alexandrians shooting at them from the other side. But we did have, after what looked to be a pretty clean run for those guys,
Yeah.
all of a sudden things kind of went a little
Sour.
We saw 2 of them get killed, standing behind the car. Again, you'll have to excuse the names here. There's a lot of people involved right now, and not every one of them has a name. You saw Francine get shot and killed.
Yep.
And then we saw Eric, who really stepped up tonight, man.
Yeah.
Eric, after being so scared to really get into a fight,
He had a badass kill tonight.
he stepped up, was trying to help as much as he could. And then as Aaron made his way to him, which he used the car and ran over 3 Saviors to get there to save Eric, he thought. He got there and found out that Eric had been shot in the stomach. For all of you at home hoping Eric makes it through this, I'm giving his survival ratio about 10%. He got shot in the stomach in the middle of a zombie apocalypse.
In the middle of also nowhere.
During a gunfight. And they were limping to help. I don't see this ending well for him. I really don't.
No, not at all.
But that's what's going to happen during this all-out war thing, man. We're going to lose a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
But there were we didn't see Negan, we didn't see Gabriel. That's saved for probably a few weeks from now.
Yep. The last outpost of the night was
Rick and
Batman and Robin.
Yep.
Rick and Daryl. They hit an outpost that Dwight told them would have a shitload of guns in it, basically, from what I could understand by their dialogue.
Yeah.
And at first, when they got there, it looked like the place was completely empty. Daryl went all the way up to like the roof to go check and didn't find anything. So Rick and Daryl decided to split up. And we didn't see much of Daryl for the rest of the episode.
No,
It showed him checking a couple of rooms and stuff. Didn't really find anything, never ran into anybody. And then it shows Rick come into kind of like this weird, almost office-looking area. And I said to my brother here, as he opened the one door, what the hell is a perfectly made bed doing in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? Because it was. It was a perfectly made bedroom. And then as Rick went to close the door and turn around, he got jumped on by a Savior.
Yep.
And a little brawl started, and of course Rick was getting his ass kicked. Man, Rick hasn't been very good with the hand-to-hand combat in The Walking Dead.
No.
He doesn't have a great track record with it, you know? The governor literally almost beat him to death.
Thank you, Dakota, for playing my iPod.
But eventually Rick gets the upper hand. He's got him in a rear naked choke, and the guy starts gasping for air and saying the word grace.
Yeah.
And then Rick does the...
And then you see Rick doing his usual move. And then what we find fucking puts the guy in a chokehold. Just as he's about to stop breathing and lose consciousness.
Rick hangs him out to dry.
Yeah, Rick literally hangs him out to dry. We see him fucking impale the guy
On a coat
on
rack,
a
it looked
freaking
like.
coat rack.
I'm not sure what the hell it was.
The guy's body falls off. The guy grabs his keys, And then all of a sudden,
You see the tattoo
that says "Grace be God."
Grace be God. Rick takes the keys and he goes to the door that was locked, opens it, and it reveals a child's bedroom. And Rick walks over to a crib and sees a baby laying in it. Now, here's the question of the night. Why was he fighting so hard to defend the bedroom? Because it looked like the baby was dead.
Yeah.
Baby didn't make a noise. Mind you, during the fight, the guy hit Rick's gun, a gunshot went off. There was a lot of noise. The baby didn't cry once. And Rick didn't take the baby with him either. So, I can only assume that the baby was dead. That's going to be my best guess right now. But it did send Rick through a bit of an emotional
state.
Yeah, he was like, no, and he's Gracie, he's whispering to himself, because he realized, he kind of thinks he just killed a father trying to protect his daughter.
Yeah.
He thinks maybe that guy had nothing to do with Negan, and instead he was just a guy hiding out trying to protect his daughter, or his dead daughter. I don't know if that little girl was alive or not. She still had a lot of color in her face. She didn't look very dead.
I don't know. To me, she kind of looked pale.
But the only reason I think she's dead right now is because there was no noise.
There was no noise, and it really didn't look like she was breathing.
So then Rick's kind of going through, trying to find the guns that Dwight told him was there, and we get yet another Walking Dead what the fuck moment. As Rick is picking up a picture and looking at the picture of a guy and a girl, and
which is probably the guy he killed and his wife.
Probably. Another man appears behind him with a gun. And he turns around, and it's the dude from season fucking 1. It's fucking Morales. Was it Morales or Santiago?
Morales.
Dakota! Hold on, I gotta kill my dog. Not literally. Knock it off. So it's season 1 Morales, which if you remember them, they were the Mexican gang members who were running a retirement community, basically. A lot of sick, a lot of elderly. They actually had Rick at gunpoint at one point, and then when Rick realized what they were doing, Rick was like, I could have killed you. We could have hurt these people. And then Rick actually left them some guns and stuff to protect themselves and to take care of the people. So now Rick sees this guy and he's like, I remember you.
I saw you in Atlanta.
I saw you in Atlanta. And you are... What was it again?
Morales.
Morales. And he goes, that was a long time ago, Rick. Things have changed. It's over. And he holds up a radio and he says, I called in to the Saviors. They're coming. And Rick kind of... You can tell he's still